Alright everybody, well, as a new version of Photoshop comes out, one of the things that we like to do is kind of give you an idea of what you're going to need to do to upgrade, because we'll often get a lot of questions on that from people that upgrade from CS or CS2 and will move to CS3. They'll open up CS3 just to find out that all of any custom brushes, any patterns, any actions, any kind of presets that they've created in CS2 are now gone inside of CS3. So what I want to show you here is how to move those things. And this pretty much works for any version of Photoshop, not just CS2. If you're using 7 or CS, it'll work fine as well. It also works on the Mac and the PC, and I'll show you the PC side in just a moment. But one of the things that you'll often do here, and I'm going to go to the Edit menu, I'm going to go down to Preset Manager. And when I talk about presets, I mean anything that shows up in this preset type menu. Because anything that shows up in here is something that you can save. You can create your own brushes, you can create your own swatches, gradients, styles, patterns, all the way down the line here. You can create your own of all these things. And some of these things take time. You'll have a lot of favorite brushes. You might have a lot of favorite styles. And you don't want to lose those when you move to a new version of Photoshop. So let's start off with presets. And the best place to work with this is inside the Preset Manager, because it kind of does everything for you. So we'll start off with just an example here for brushes. And this is going to show you your current brush palette. Let's say these last few brushes, let's say these last 4 are brushes that you've created. So I could click on one, shift click on another, and you can see how they're kind of outlined a little bit darker here. Well, these I want to move to my new version of Photoshop, because I've created these, I use them all the time. So I want to move them. So here's what you do, and I know right now I'm in CS3, but CS2 looks exactly the same as does CS, so the same dialog. So I select these brushes. Right now I'd be in Photoshop CS2, let's say. I select these brushes, and I go to the Save Set option here, and I click on it. And it's going to let me name this. So I would name this something like Matt's Brushes. Okay? And what you'll want to do is, since we're working in the earlier version of CS, this is where you're coming from, I'd go ahead and save this onto my desktop just to make it easy to find. Alright, so I'll save mattsbrushes.abr there. Just remember the name of that file. Alright, and then hit save. And what Photoshop has done is it's saved that brush set onto your desktop for you. Okay? So now close out of this, close out of CS2. You've installed CS3. You've fired up. Here we are. Okay? And now let's go into my Preset Manager. Same place, Edit, down to the Preset Manager. And here's those brushes. Those last 4. Well, I'm going to go ahead and, just for sake of argument here, I'm going to delete them. Okay, because we'd be coming into the new version of Photoshop and these brushes would be gone. Okay, so I'm going to delete them just to make it show you that they're actually gone. Now what you would do is go to Load, okay, go onto your desktop, find the preset brush set that you just created. See, it's called Matt's Brushes. That's the one we just saved. Go find that and click Load. And look what happens here. Right at the end of the brush palette, it just appended those brushes onto the end of my existing brushes here. Alright, so that's how you can move any of your presets. Go into your earlier version, go into that Preset Manager. Again, it's right under the Edit menu. And go find your presets and save them off. Okay, you don't have to save all of them. If you know only the last few, just click on them. Alright, and just save those. And that's how you load them. Now, the other thing that we will often create are actions. So we need to do the same thing, and it works very similar. Go into your earlier version of Photoshop, wherever you're coming from. Go to your actions. So here's an action set that I've created. Go to the little pop-out menu here, go down to Save Actions. Alright? And save your actions somewhere where you can find them. Alright, so again, the desktop is a good example. So I'd save this onto my desktop. Click on Save. Alright, close down your older version of Photoshop. Open the newer version of Photoshop. Go to your Actions palette, and again, for sake of example here, I'm going to drag this to the trash can. So now we're in Photoshop CS3, fresh new start, and we want to get our actions in. Go to that same Actions pop-out menu, go down to Load Actions this time. Remember where you saved it. I put it on my desktop here, and there's the mat.atn file. We'll load that up, and you'll see it loads my actions for me as well. Alright, moving on. A couple other things that you'll save. Keyboard shortcuts. If you have a lot of your own keyboard shortcuts, go to the Edit menu. And again, this is in your older version of Photoshop. Go to Keyboard Shortcuts. Inside of here, when you make a change, you'll have a little save icon up here. I'll make a change just for sake of argument. I'll change one here. I'll accept it. See right up here, we can save this. Click that little save icon. Same thing as before. Save it onto your desktop. Close out of the old version. Come into the same place in the new version, right under the Edit menu, and inside of here, you can come in here and you can load those new keyboard shortcuts. Alright, so there you have it with keyboard shortcuts. And the last thing that we get a lot of questions on are preferences, because people are going to want to move their preferences over. Honestly, the best way to do this is to just come into the newer version of Photoshop and kind of set things up the way you want. Some of the things that I do right off the bat, and these are some things that are kind of will get you if you forget to do right away. Let's go to the Photoshop menu on the Mac. You go to Preferences, and I'll hop over and I'll show you the PC side here. If you're on the PC, you can go under the Edit menu. Whoops, go under this Edit menu and go down to Preferences on the PC. And either way, that gets you into your preference settings. I'm going to go into General, and a couple things that you might want to change inside of here. Some people don't like the way that the zooming in and out automatically resizes the windows in Photoshop, so that's one that you'll want to think about changing. If you go into File Handling, one of the first things that I always check over here is, see where it says Maximize PSD Compatibility? I just say Always. I always want to maximize compatibility. I don't want that dialogue that always pops up and says, do you want to maximize compatibility? So I always check Always here. A couple other things. Big one here is under Performance. Alright, you want to go to your Performance and change your history states at least to 50, if not 100. And it really, if you've got a gigabyte of RAM, you can probably get away with close to 100. Might want to try 75, but the more history states that you save for yourself, the more undos that you're going to be able to get. Alright, and just to show you, if you're on the PC side in here, same thing happens. We'll go to the Actions palette here. We can save our actions again, and we can just go put those onto the desktop, and you can load them the same way. So everything works the same, whether you're using it on the PC side or whether you're using it over here on the Mac side. So there you have it. How to upgrade, how to move some of your favorite settings from CS2 to CS3. The main thing you'll want to do here, go to Edit, go down to Preset Manager, and if you've made changes to any of the things that you see inside this list, then you'll want to go to each one of those palettes, switch over to Swatches, save those presets. Switch over to whatever it is and save those presets, and that way you can always use them inside of CS3.